Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Smart Money Minds. Today we're looking at the S&P 500 shooting over 4,000 points for the first time. That means it's a brand new all-time high. We're looking at this chart here, and it is making a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, breaking up over. We're looking at the Nasdaq giving us some confidence as well, as it broke over this trend line that I had on watch here, and this is what I predict to happen. We're hitting a zone of resistance, and I'm expecting a little bit of consolidation back to the 0.382 range, which is also lines up with this area of support before busting through over and back up to this orange trend line here, which starts off from the COVID lows. With this sort of confidence in the market, I am looking at this one FAANG stock, which will likely move over 15% if all the conditions are looking good and the chart itself is looking fantastic. And this one will be Facebook. The major reason is the technical aspect of it. Looking at this one move here, we see this bull pennant that formed up in December of 2018 in this range here, and we even hit the COVID lows in March, and this pennant still tightened up with this wick here before pushing back out. And look at this, 5 months of just bull volume coming in, steady bulls moving the price right back up. And here we go again. Look at this pennant form again, and we just got a breakout. In the weekly chart, we were hovering around this range for a very long time, since August of last year, and there hasn't been any major moves until very recently. Look at this bull move here, and bull move pushing right out very cleanly. And if we look at even the smaller time frames on the daily, look at how perfectly it came back. It pushed out and perfectly came back to backtest this upper trend line range here before pushing right back up over. At this point, we are sitting very near all-time highs. This is all-time high is 304.60 range here, and we are just forming a doji candle around the 298 300 range. It tried to push over today, but it didn't quite get there. I looked for some news to see if there was any major push or acquisition that Facebook is doing, but all I could really find is Mark Zuckerberg selling a handful of his shares as the price continues to move up. Generally, this is a bearish news, but it's not always necessarily a bad thing when the CEO starts selling shares, because they could just be needing the money to pay taxes or whatever the heck else they need it for. And looking at it, he sold 56,000 shares and another 56,000 shares. So he sold stocks, quite a few, it looks like. But look at the amount of shares he actually owns, which is over 400 million shares. So this is really no amount of shares at all. And looking back on the technical aspect of things, we're looking at the Fibonacci. And if you look at the weekly chart, this never came back down lower than the 0.382 after this bull break. So that's very, very bullish, especially in this bull pennant, which tightened up into a coil for the longest time. It just squeezed itself, and now it looks like there's a breakout. And to look up on the Fibonacci extension, what I'm anticipating is the Nasdaq right here is going to consolidate a little bit first, given that you got a doji here and a zone of resistance. So it could consolidate a little bit here. But what I'm expecting Facebook to do is perhaps form a shorter time frame bull flag, which is going to be up at this range here. As long as it's hanging out in this all-time high range, it has a very good potential to continue. And looking up here, I'm looking at the 618 move, so the 1.1618 move. So if it hangs out here, it could very well push up And we do have earnings coming in April. And by having earnings coming in April, I'm thinking that there could be a earnings run-up for April and pushing it right up. And with a target of 346 to 350 psychological, if we buy up here, we have about a 14 to 15% move up here. This is a very classic breakout bull pattern on the monthly chart. That means that there could very well be a few months of bullish action, just very similar to what happened here. We got 5 months of bullish action before we had a bit of a dark cloud cover here and formed a bull pennant. Lastly, we cannot forget our stop zone. What I'm looking at here is the 277 to 278 zone. That would be a very good stop as it came back to back test. And look at the daily, or look at the 4-hour move. It went up, set a high, set a higher low, and pushed right over. So the trend is moving up that way. You can also use a even tighter stop around the 286 zone if you want to be extra safe. But we're looking back up, and given good market conditions, we could be trading sideways here and pushing over back to 350. And that's my target. So of course Facebook drops news after I complete this video and have it ready to upload. So I have to add this new segment to let you know why I still think Facebook is gonna push to a new all-time high. So obviously Facebook just dropped news on Saturday, and this was 533 million Facebook users, and their data has been leaked online. We're looking at another major user data leak again by Facebook, and from what I remember, that this wasn't the first time. So what I did was I actually looked back on a couple of instances where they leaked data in previous years, in 2018 and 2019, and took a look at their chart. And this is why I am still confident that Facebook will drive up and have a great year. After some research, I'm looking here. They dropped 540 million user records before on April the 4th in 2019. Okay, and here is another one where they dropped more user data. Right here, 49 million Instagram, 419 million users for Facebook, and this was dated December the 20th. So this was another article, and one more here. Similar news, December 19 or 2019. This was the news, and in 2018 they were also fined by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission for data privacy violation. So let's take a look at those times here on the chart. Taking a look here, look at right here. So April the 4th, 2019 was right around this range, and if you take a look here, there was basically no negative impact. It exposes records and the stock kept running up. And looking here on July the 19th, where they were fined, it was touching the upper trend line of this pennant, and this was 2019 in July. It did have a drop, but this could be a technical drop and not necessarily a news drop. Looking at the latest leak in 2019 in December, 267 million Facebook users data leak. Look at this actually break over this bull pennant trend line and pushed to a new all-time high. So it's not the news that really does anything. It's how the institutions and how investors or the big name players react to this news that will drive the action. This isn't the first time that Facebook has leaked data, and this has been a known fact for the last 3 years. So having this happen now, it may not really impact anything, and especially when it's at the near the all-time high of the chart, it could have very little effect. but we'll have to see Monday for a little bit more information. In the comments below, let me know if you agree or disagree with what I think this news piece will do to Facebook. I don't think it'll be a significant impact as most people would think. But let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and then we'll see you guys next time.